Hello, Brother Sewing and Crafting family. Angela Wolf here, Brother Brand Ambassador, and I'm super excited to see you. I don't know about you, but I know we always talk about the weather, but it is hot as heck here in Michigan. In fact, I told the girls today, I'm standing here in a bucket of ice. Not really, but I would like to be. So welcome, everyone. Say hi. Dee, I see you are the first one in the house. I'm standing here in a bucket of ice. Oh, I think that there's a repeat. Hold on. Did you hear that? That was crazy. It was like two of me. Anyways, Phyllis, I see everyone rolling in. We are live streaming on Brothers YouTube and Facebook pages. And guess what we have going on today? A little summer fun. We've got Laura and Emily. I'm super excited to have them. Hey, girls, how are you?
Hi.
Super happy to see you here today. I know you're going to bring us a little more sunshine. And we've got a lot of summer stuff going on, don't we?
Yes.
Okay,
it's going to be a fun show.
I think this is going to be really fun. Emily, tell everyone a quick preview of what you're doing, and then Laura, you tell me, so then they can, and you're going to get to watch the whole thing. And don't forget, if you're on Facebook, share it to your page. It's the easiest way to come back and watch. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe and hit the like button. All right, Emily, what do you got for us today?
Okay, so today we're going to be making a cute little, actually pretty big welcome sign. I'm going to use some applique style lettering. And I'm actually using two different kinds of vinyl for this project. So it's fun. It's using up some scraps that I have. And hopefully when I'm finished, I'll have a little welcome sign to hang.
I love that. In fact, that would be really cute at my office. Except,
yes.
By the way, I think Maxine had a lot of babies, just FYI. Anybody who doesn't know my squirrel cam, Maxine has a whole nother family, and I think that they would probably sleep on that sign or eat it. I'm not sure, but they're all over the place.
Yes.
All right, Laura, what are you doing today? Something that I love.
I'm doing it's on the other table. Should I go grab it?
Oh, that's all right. You could just tell if you want, or I'll bring it up, whatever you want.
Okay, I got it.
We're like, yeah, we want to see.
Although I don't like this bowl, I just like it for the demonstration, but cute little bowl covers for picnics or just outdoor, anything really. So it's just this fun little elastic kind of cover.
Oh, that's cute. Looks like a shower curtain.
Yeah, it could be.
A shower cap.
Honestly, I think that's how those are made.
So if you don't want to cover your bowls, this would be a great way, though, to keep the flies away, the ants away, anything when you're having a picnic. I'm going on the boat and the flies get bad. I think this is going to be perfect.
It's number one's the flies for sure. And like in the summer, if you're outside eating, you can just cover it, your food or whatever, for entertaining and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah.
Very, very fun. All right, everyone, get your notepads out so you can take notes. Emily, why don't we kick it off with you?
All right, sounds great. So like I said, we are going to be, I'm going to be showing you this applique. And I just first wanted to real quick give you like the 2-minute how I set it up on my machine. So I actually have this design saved, so we'll come back to this, but I'm going to just show you really quickly how I set it up, and then we'll go from there. So actually, Angela, I'll probably have you just take me out for a second so I can move the camera closer to the screen so that you guys can all see what I'm doing, and then we'll go through and we'll add the rest of the letters to the sign.
That sounds good. So just holler, give me a thumbs up. I can see you down there. Laura, this is going to be so exciting. So Laura, your last project you did was that, I don't know if it was the last one or the one before that, blue bag with the beautiful flowers.
Yeah.
I saw so many comments about that. So anybody who's watching, if you missed that episode, that was the cutest bag I've ever seen.
Really? Wait, so was it the little drawstring one or the one we did last time where we embroidered it?
The drawstring one that had the blue. Yes, I love that.
I love it with Tabitha, the printer.
Yep. The printer.
That's so easy, you guys. You got to get those printers.
Super, super cute. So if you missed those episodes, come back and watch that. So I'm going to bring Emily up here. We've got you, Emily.
Okay, great. So I just am going to show you really quickly. I'm not going to set up the whole welcome word, but I just want to walk you through the steps that I did. So first of all, on the thumb drive here on my side, I transferred from my computer, which is where I keep my embroidery designs, the alphabet that I'm going to use, and I just transfer the individual letters that I'm going to use. If you don't have a separate alphabet that you have purchased somewhere else, this number 4 on, this is the Stellaire. This would also work for Applique because it has the letter outline. So essentially you just want a font that is an outline to be able to work with this. So I'm going to just open up from the USB and show you what it looks like. So you can see here, these are the letters that I transferred to the thumb drive to use. So let's grab the W. I transferred the 2-inch letters. Okay, so you can see on my, this is from here to here is the extent of my hoop, where I'm using the 9.5 by 14 hoop. And then what I did is I went ahead and I edited the what is going to be stitched, because this is quite a involved applique design, and I just wanted this to be simple. Because I'm using vinyl, the edges are pretty thick on both the letters, and the fabric is this flower fabric is also vinyl, although thinner than the blue. The blue is, I think a friend gave it to me after she like reupholstered some chairs one time. So I feel like it's pretty thick, but more like a fake leather. The floral I've used for some bag making and things. So these are just scraps that I had going on. So, okay, so I use the no sew feature, which I absolutely adore. So I'm going to keep the first and second, which one is the placement stitch, and then the second one is the tack down stitch, but we're just going to use that. So I did not, I'm not going to sew the satin stitch, and I'm not going to sew this final little top stitch that it does. So I went ahead and did that. And then I did that, and I just would go to the add button. Okay. Go to my USB, grab the next letter. Okay. And then do that through. And you can either move by clicking and dragging. There's the stylus. I almost always just use my finger. And then if I need to get it more detailed, I'll go here and use the arrows. But I know some people really like the stylus. For me personally, I don't know. I never have it when I need it. And so I just end up using my fingers. And then I would go to the no sew again and select those. Okay. And then just go down through. And then the great thing about this machine is, of course, you can save it, and it saves all those processes that you've already set. So even though it's not a built-in design, we're going to go back. If I go to embroidery, I go to the machine, which is the things that are saved in my machine. You can see I actually have 3 here, but this final one is the one where I tweaked it exactly how I wanted it, and now it's all set to go. So the next thing that I need to do on this now is, because I've already stitched out the W and I've stitched out the E, as you can see on my design. Right? We already stitched out those first 2. So we are going to skip ahead. And if you leave your fabric in the hoop and you don't touch it, this is what I just love. You can come back to it. Okay. So you have time to do some now, some later. You don't even have to like save in the middle of the design. We can just skip ahead using these plus and minus. So I'm going to skip 2 on each. Okay, and now actually I think I did the 2 E's at the same time because it was just a duplicate. So it's skipping from this E down to this E, and that's where we're going to get started. Okay, so I'm just going to rotate this a little bit here so you can see my whole machine, and we're going to slide this into the hoop. I'm going to hit OK on that to go back to the embroidery. I have a dark blue thread that coordinates pretty well with these squares. I have 2-inch squares of fabric cut because that's just a little bit bigger than my design. I also want to make sure I have with me sharp scissors. I'm not going to cut each letter as we go. I'm going to stitch them all. But if this fabric is going to overlap the next stitch, then I might need to trim a little bit as I go. All right. So we're just going to stitch this out real quick. We're going to do all the letters, and then we're going to trim them afterwards. All right, so we're going to lower the presser foot, see where it's moving to. Remember, it's going to that last E. I think because I know because I duplicated the E's. So the order that you place the letters in on the machine is the order that it will stitch them, just like any layered embroidery design. So if I had thought through that more, I probably would have done it differently, but I didn't. So there we go. All right, so now I have the placement, which means I can lay this right over top. Then you lower your presser foot again, and it's gonna stitch again. So in the original design, it stitches the placement stitch, then it stitches this second stitch, and then it goes over with a satin stitch, and then it actually does this other like top stitch thing over top all of it. And you can use like different colors for the layers. It does look really cool when it's done. And I actually did a trial yesterday because I was working through like how I actually wanted to do this place or, do this whole design. And I did not really like the full satin stitch on top of the, this thick vinyl. The edge did not look smooth and nice. Cause I think this is, I don't know. I just think it's too thick. So I ripped that W off. I started over. I was really glad I did a trial, which I don't always do. And then I just decided I was going to do the first two parts of this stitch and not the third part. Okay, so now we've popped back up to the L. And again, we're going to do the placement stitch. And you can see how fast this is going, considering I'm just doing these two sort of outline stitches. Okay, so then we place this on top, and I just hold it, not the whole time. Oh, why did that go onto the C? Let's see. Maybe I accidentally deleted both stitches on the L. That would not be good. Okay, so we're going to go back.
Everyone's loving what you're showing, Emily. Everybody says, thanks for showing the steps. So helpful.
Oh, good. So some reason the L only did one outline L, but the good news is we can just use the back button and we'll just stitch it again. So I don't know if I push no sew on too many lines on the L or where the other outline went, but, whoop, and my thread just broke. Okay, let's lift the needle and rethread this.
All right. So while she's doing that, I see all of your comments rolling in. Yes, we love to see all of the steps for this, by the way. And I love that maybe you accidentally deleted that one and you brought it back.
I know, totally. What did I do? Now I just went back 100 stitches, and then of course I'm back to the E. So now I'm moving forward 10 stitches at a time till I get back up here. Okay. So, yeah. We don't have to, nothing is too permanent here on embroidery, which is always fun. Most of the time, you can fix your mistakes with only a little bit of pain. And usually the pain comes if I have to get the seam ripper out. But if I don't have to do that, we're usually okay. So we'll see what happens with the C. Hopefully there's two lines of the C here. Okay, so now let's stitch that C out, and hopefully, yeah, both parts are where we want them to be. And depending on the thickness of your fabric and the intricacy of your design, you may want to play a little bit around with the speed. I have this set, I think, at 500 stitches per minute, which is not as fast as it can go. I've slowed it down slightly because I was finding with these thicker fabrics that it just doesn't like to go super, super speedy. But I feel like it's still, especially since this is like a fairly simple design, does not take long at all. So just be aware that if you're like this, I don't know, sometimes I wonder if my thread is getting old. Lately I don't know, Angela, what do you think? I've been having more trouble than I remember in the past with thread breaking. You think thread gets old?
If your thread's breaking, I guarantee it's probably not the machine. So yes, thread can get old. And if you leave it sitting out, if the sun hits it for long periods of time, what I do is I pull the thread a little bit, and if it breaks, it's out of there. And you won't believe how many things of thread I've had to throw away.
Yeah, because it's been like so sudden this summer where no matter what color I pull out, it's just not as good as it used to be. I'm like, and I change needles and all that. I'm like, I think this is a thread issue. So I might be on the hunt for a new set of embroidery thread. Of course, I bought this all kind of at the same time. And I feel like I have had it for a while because I've had my embroidery machine for a while, or embroidery machines. And I think I'm still using the same set of thread that I got when I got my first embroidery machine. So it might be time to, the needle was new yesterday. So I don't think it's that, but I saw someone say change the needle, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's my thread. So
everybody's
time to go.
Let's see. I saw somebody say, what machine is she using? Connie, she's on the Brothers Stellaire. See, look at the bottom, Stellaire 2.
Which I love this machine because of the hoop size. This is the largest hoop I've ever personally had. So to me, it's so fun to play with. But you could absolutely do this design on a smaller hoop just by moving the fabric and then using the placement for each letter. You could literally do it one letter at a time in a 4x4 hoop, because this is just, these letters are really only 2 inches. So it's absolutely not like a big embroidery design. I'm just taking advantage of my large hoop to do it all at once, but you totally would not have to, which I love about projects like this.
Right. Hey, Lois just mentioned one more thing I was thinking of. I was trying to see if it was getting caught on the spool cap. If it gets caught on the spool, which happens quite often when I'm using the serger with like the real furry, the furry thread, I just also check to make sure it's not getting caught on the spool.
Yeah, that's a
well, I'm actually not using the spool cap because I've had trouble with that. So so it's just up here and coming off nicely, but yeah, it's time for a new thread probably. All right, we're on to our last letter, the M. And I know you guys can't really see this so much because it's just the thin line and I've brightened it up, but we're on to stitching that last and final letter, and then we can take it off and sort of take a look. And again, trimming these small enough. So originally I had left the pieces of vinyl a little bit bigger. And then when I was doing the trial, I decided that if I didn't want to have to pull it off and trim each letter after I stitched it, that it was best to cut them as small as I possibly could to make them fit. And then that way I also don't have to remove and trim because there's no overlapping on the stitches. So I'm able to just put this on there. I love having that placement stitch. It makes it really easy to just put your vinyl right where you need it to be, and then go ahead and stitch each letter. And then I will be able to trim it all up at the end, and I don't have to worry about any of it now, which is handy and makes the project go quicker. Okay, last one. We're almost finished, so this is good. And before I do another live show, Angela, I'm going to buy a new thread.
You know what? It'll probably work perfectly when you're not on the live show. It's always the gremlins, right, Laura? Of course.
Yes, it's always that way.
If it's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong now.
That's right. Okay, sorry. Just making sure I've got my placement. And I mean, I love that you can actually go within one stitch of, you can move forward one stitch, 10 stitches or 100 stitches. And I have used the single stitch movement more times than I probably would like to admit, just to get it exactly where it was before whatever I was doing messed up. So, all right. So now my letters are all stitched on. All right. And we're going to take this off and take a look. So you can see here the 2 letters that I cut originally. So those were trimmed. And then these that we need to trim. So I'm going to turn my camera over to the work table and show you how I'm trimming. It's definitely not the only way. And then we'll let Laura get her project going while I trim up the rest of the letters so I can show it to you.
That sounds good. All right, well, she's headed over to her table. Laura, this is going to be super fun. And you know what, Emily? Oh, I forgot you're moving your camera. I'll take you out. Sorry about that. Anne says, it's nice to see what happens. Like what does happen when your thread breaks, or if something goes wrong, you can easily go back to where you started. And everyone says they love seeing that. So Emily, if you planned it that way, or now you need to go buy a new thread, either way.
I like how they said we can always depend on the live gremlins to make an appearance.
That is so true. Sandy watches all the live shows and she knows when they come out. I don't even have the squirrel cam up, but usually that affects it as well.
Exactly.
All right. Emily's at her table.
They work out. All right. Well, you just have to keep moving forward even when things don't go exactly as planned. I'm using these super sharp snips just because of the thickness of this fabric. I have other, like a curved applique scissors, but I just didn't feel like they were thick enough or like strong enough because they're like little to do this thicker fabric. So I'm just using these a little bit stronger scissors for trimming this. And then for me, it's mostly just how many awkward angles can I trim around and how many weird movements does my arm need to be in. But essentially you're just trimming close, but not through all of the stitches. Okay, so that's what we are attempting to do in trimming these letters. And the good thing about these scissors is that the point is sharp. So I'm able to use it to go on the inside for some of these inside curves of the letters. And then if you need to do the edges, there you go. So there we go. There's the E. Oh, too high. There's the E trimmed out. And I'm going to go ahead and keep working on this while Laura does her project. And then I'll show you kind of the next steps to finishing this welcome sign.
That sounds awesome. All right, Emily, we're going to take you out. Lucy says she's watching you while she's using her scan and cut.
Nice.
All right. So I'm going to head over to the table. If I'm echoing, let me know and I'll just shift it back over here.
Okay, I do hear a little bit of an echo.
I know, and I'm not sure why. So let me mute this and I'll talk on that one and let me know if it changes things.
Okay, sounds good. All right, while she's out, we'll watch Emily cut and then we'll bring Laura back up and see what gremlins are in her studio today, right?
Well, and I was just thinking too, I'm wondering, actually, it's done with the embroidery, so I do not need to leave this in the hoop. So I'm going to take this out of the hoop because I think it'll be easier for me to maneuver and kind of get into some of these interesting angles that I need to. And while I'm doing that, I'll just tell you, so I just used regular tearaway stabilizer, and then I placed my vinyl on top, and I just had placed about 6 pins to hold it in place. So that was kind of my setup that I didn't show you guys, but I think it will actually be easier to trim. And then because it's tearaway, when you're done, you're just going to rip it out.
Oh yeah.
And tear that away. And you could even cut and leave it especially if you were using a thinner fabric to get some structure to your design. You'd want to leave maybe that layer of interfacing or stabilizer in there when you sew on the backing. But
that looks really, really cute. All right, Emily, I'm going to take you out. I got Laura up here. Laura,
okay.
I'm muted. I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can.
Oh.
And I hear an echo.
I'm getting the echo, but do you hear it?
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, we do have
It
an echo.
just started. One sec.
I'm going to take her out for a minute just to see. We'll get rid of this crazy echo. Julie says, interesting angles. Love that. I know. We're just going to sit here and watch you cut.
Okay.
All right.
You hear me?
The most
Now,
exciting thing.
Angela?
It's like kind of like watching paint dry, actually.
All right, let me see you, Laura. Do you have an echo now?
All right. Can you hear me better?
Yep, a lot better.
All right, let's try this for now. Let's hurry up and get this in right here, this step. Okay. So we're going to do these cute little bowl covers. And we were talking about how they're just perfect for like, you just take these off. They're perfect for covering food, especially in the summer. But I also use them a lot just in the kitchen because my kids are eating all at different times. And it's nice to keep, foil and saran wrap. It's just messy. These are easy. You just pull them right over, And you
Very
can use
cute.
all kinds of fun fabrics. You can do linens. You can do, I've even used those flour towels, those flour sack towels, and it's just easy. So I'm going to use this random little bowl just because it's a good size. So I'll show you guys how to do that. The first thing you're going to need is I'm going to do 2 layers of fabric. Now, the Brother blog does have one where I show you how to do bias tape. But this one's easier, and you can also do different prints. So I have, you can see a different print on each side, and you just get a little bit more like coverage. So to begin, you can do this on paper as well, but I'm just going to do it directly on the fabric. But you'll want to just trace and make sure there's about 1.5 inches around the circumference of the bowl. Because you're going to need that extra. I also do this on paper if I'm going to make a couple more. That way you can use it as your pattern. So you're just going to trace around.
I'm with you, Dee.
You see
I want to do it because you can reuse them and then just throw them in the wash. It's going to be great. Except right now you're using a bowl that I always make popcorn, and you're making me hungry.
I know that bowl's so ugly. I'm sorry.
I think it's cute. I have one just like it.
Okay, good. Well, how they're like, I was like, I really need a pretty bowl, but I didn't really have a pretty bowl. So, that's a mom of boys. It's just like eat. Okay. And so then what you're going to need is, you can do I'm just using this measuring tape. And so you're going to do 1.5 inches circumference all the way around. And if it's a little off, it's okay. But what I like to do is just kind of do 1.5 inches like this all the way around it. So you can do it like every inch or so. It doesn't have to be perfect. So you can see I'm making these little marks. And you're going to go all the way around. So bear with me.
Yeah, we're watching you, and we've got Emily in the corner. This is like super fun, multitasking.
We're all doing this together. Like the other gal said, she was doing her own craft, so we can kind of at least feel like we're doing it all together. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I did have a step out for this, but I figure like, why not just show them on the fabric? You know what I mean?
Oh, that would be
just
great.
Using this
watch everything.
Yeah, and this give Emily a little more time to cut because I know when you do those appliques, it definitely takes a while, that last cutting step. You know what I mean? Before you do the satin stitch.
It does. She's already in the cutting phase.
Yeah, that's why I like my machine. It's like, just do it all for me. All right, so now you can see I made this, and then I'm going to just cut around. Oh, actually, I'm going to add the second layer so I'm going to do 2 layers. So then add your other layer below.
Oh, yeah.
Sure it's going to get, there we go. Just remind me when to flip. This is my wrong side, so that doesn't come out. Because I use a normal pen. You shouldn't use a normal pen. All right. And then what you're going to do is just cut all the way around this. So we're just cutting a circle, basically.
Very easy.
Yeah. It kind of looks like a placemat.
I would love to know in the comments who's going to make these. This looks like both are super easy, fast projects. Perfect for, well, we have July 4th coming up. And if somebody's having a party, what a great way to have that little welcome sign. If you're having a picnic or going out on the boat, these covers are going to be great. Oh, Laura, you're giving me way too, I have to I think I'm going to have to put our name on there or the name of our boat or something.
Yes.
That would add a little embroidery in there.
For sure. Are you guys still with me?
A little bit of vinyl on there would be good.
That would be cute. All right, so now we have our layers, okay? And then we're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to sew all the way around, but we're going to leave just about 1.5 inches opening. So we're going to head over to the sewing machine. And Angela, I'm going to actually turn this one off so I don't have any problems for the next one. Good. So we'll do everything over there. All right.
Sounds good. We are, this is so much fun. Dee says she's making these. All right, Emily, catch us up to date. We've been watching you, both of you. This is like so much fun. This is super cute.
So I cut all the letters. They're all cut out. Then I decided that for proportions, I wanted my sign to be a little bit smaller. So I actually cut down the floral vinyl and then I've placed it right sides together on this pink fabric that I had planned to use for the backing. And I actually had pre-made this little tube that I'm going to use for some little hanging things so I can put a dowel or something through it. So my next step is to cut these down. I don't know, maybe is 3 inches good with a seam allowance? I wasn't sure if I need 2 or 3, but it looks like I just need 2. And then I'm going to put these in here, maybe like 1.5 inches from the edge, so that when I sew this, then those little hangers will be right at the top, and then they can just pop out and I can hang this up.
Super fun. Oh, Shirley said she was looking for something extra for her craft show. This would be a great item for craft shows to sell.
Well, really, I mean, think of all the like seasonal or decorative fabric, as well as, I mean, I just put welcome on here because it's nice and generic, but you absolutely could slap any saying you wanted on there for a holiday. And then what I'm going to do is I'll leave a pretty good gap of 5 or 6 inches on the bottom so that I can turn this right side out. And then I'll probably top stitch around so that the vinyl and the backing and everything lays really nicely, but I'll pop through that when Laura's done.
That sounds good. All right. I got Laura up here and she's going to turn her sound back on.
Yeah. And I put the camera a little closer so you guys can see. Is that good? All right.
That's perfect. What machine are you on today, Laura?
So this is the SE700.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's a nice, it's a good machine for just everything. And it also has a 4x4 inch hoop area. So now what I'm going to do, and I'm kind of like Emily where we're stitching this way. So excuse me if there's little mistakes. But now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew all the way around and remember to leave that 1.5 inches. I already did some of it. But you're going to have to just, and I'm doing a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So just right on the edge where it hits right along the presser foot. And you'll just kind of turn it as you sew. All right, so
that machine is so quiet.
I know, I love it. And there's like a thunderstorm rolling in right now. So I'm like, we've been losing I know, Atlanta, like I live in Georgia. I saw someone said that it's been raining. It really has. And there's always some horrible storm. So I'm hoping not to lose power.
We're hoping not to lose power. Yeah, don't, because Tuesday's show, Jerry Granado was supposed to be on and he lost power, but it was because somebody hit a power line. That was terrible. So he's coming on next week. So don't lose power.
Yeah, so I wanted to give you a heads up just in case. All right, so I just stitched all the way around and I have my little opening. And then what you'll do, so here's the opening right here. And then we're just going to flip it right. So, oh, actually, no. Now what we're going to do is I got these pinking shears.
Oh, and I
kind of to go around just to kind of, let me move this back a little. Yeah, when I was moving this, it like the cord came out and I was like, thought the power went out.
Oh, no.
No. I'm going to have to text Angela, or I could, well, I guess you can't. You need the power. I was going to say I could use my hotspot on my phone, but so now I'm just kind of cutting the edges. This will just help because, you know, it's curved. If you have these, they're pinking shears, I think. Is that what they're called, Angela?
Yep, it sure is. Pinking shears, which, by the way, for people who don't have a serger, that's a great way to finish the edges. And it just, especially if you're doing a circle, then you can flip it right side out. You don't end up with little puckers.
And I didn't want to have to clip the whole thing around. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm just doing this real quick. And if
easy. Yeah, Dee says, pinking shears are a must-have. They are. And you know what? I have a rotary blade to do the pinking shears, which I love. It's super fast, but you know what? There's something about cutting. I just like it.
That's a great, I didn't even think about a rotary cutter. That's cool. All right, let me just throw this stuff on the floor. I'll sweep it later. All right, so now I'm going to flip right side out. And I might go press it. I did turn my iron on really quick because I like it to be nice and flat. So you might have to bear with me while I just go press it really quick.
Well, that's all right. When you press, I'll bring Emily back up.
Yeah. All right, so it's all flipped out right sides. And now you'll see you got like this nice circle kind of placemat. So let me go press it really quick and I'll be right back.
All right, let's bring Emily back up while Laura goes to press. Emily, how's it going? Where are you at? Oops, I muted you. I'm so sorry.
This is the bottom here that I am going to start sewing on. And what I'm going to do is just do maybe an inch on the corner and then turn so that my opening doesn't stretch from corner to corner. I have like an inch in on both of it. I just think it's easier to turn that back right side out and then press in the seam allowance when you have a little bit already sewn on that side. So we're just going to use a straight stitch here. As you can see, I have removed the embroidery foot. I have not removed the embroidery arm. And I will tell you that I have a nice sewing setup, but it is not a large sewing setup. And one of the ways that I feel like I make it work with less space is I hardly ever take this embroidery unit off the Stellaire. I just leave it on there and then it moves out of the way. You can see it's actually way over here and I have a huge bed for sewing on. And then because there's a wall literally right here, I have to like move the whole machine to pull this off, but I don't need to. So I love that I can just move it out of the way and then sew to my heart's content on this as a sewing machine. And then it actually makes flipping back and forth between sewing and embroidery so easy. So anyway,
so much easier. I'm so glad you showed that, Emily, because I've had so many people ask, even with the Avenir and the Luminaire, and you're showing the Stellaire, can you sew when that's on? And yes, you can. I have so many people say, I wish it would. I'm like, it does. Emily's showing it right here.
Yes, and I was, just while Laura was working, I got this all set up, and I also converted this back to a sewing machine in about 30 seconds. So I'm on the top now. I have these little loops tucked under here, and I'm stitching them in place so that when I flip this right side out, that those hanging loops will flip up and be ready to go. Okay, so we're gonna go all the way down this final last side. And then again, around the corner, just maybe an inch. And then I'll get this turned right side out while Laura's finishing hers. And then I think I probably should press it. I think I put my ironing pad away, but I did leave my iron out and on. So I should be able to do a quick press of this. And then I think I'll top stitch around just to make sure that it's laying really nicely. I think that's going to be the way that it's going to lay the best, because that vinyl layer is so thick. So what I'm going to do is trim. I'm not going to trim the seam allowance on the fabric, but I am going to trim the seam allowance on the vinyl, just because, you know, when you turn that right side out, we don't need this extra like 1/4 inch of thickness. So I'm going to trim that. And then I'm going to just turn this right side out, and I'll show you what we're working with. I'm not sure if Laura is ready to come back or not, or you want to watch me cut some more, but
I'm ready.
Okay.
She's ready. So I'll leave you on the side, Emily, while you're cutting. And
Perfect.
You guys are making a great team, by the way.
This is great. I love it. Just, you know, you might have to rewind and go back if you want to do the project, but it's okay. So I just pressed it. It's just a little flat, you know, circle. And now what you're going to do is you have this opening. Okay. So we're going to sew that up last. What you're going to do is you're going to sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around. So we're going to start that right now. Don't worry about this. You'll do that on the opening as well. All right. So I'm going to just start stitching. Let me move y'all up a little bit. Ugh. All right. Okay. And it can be tricky when you're trying to do a curve with a 5/8 seam allowance, but just take your time. I'm sewing kind of diagonal, so like this, so it's not be perfect.
It's always so. Emily's cutting. She's cutting all that up, and you're sewing. I know you got to love when you're sewing around a camera, so don't worry, we won't be too picky.
Well, I'll just remember the gremlin comment. That was funny.
Definitely. Oh, Jean says she's got the Stellaire. I know. Isn't that awesome that you can sew? You know, it's really fun if you're going back and forth on projects, because you can just leave that arm on there as long as it doesn't get in the way.
This is why I picked a smaller circle, so it's pretty quick. So we're coming up on the end. And now, last but definitely not least, you'll get your elastic. And then we're going to weave it. So we still have that opening. We haven't shut that yet. That will be the last step. And then you'll just weave your elastic through. For the measurements, you can just honestly take the elastic and go around the bowl and then minus an inch, because you'll want that, you know, extra just elasticity for when you place it around the bowl to keep it in place. You don't want it exact, you know what I mean? Like kind of like you're doing your waist. But yeah, I'm just weaving this through super quick. I mean, you could probably get so good at these, you're making them in under 5 minutes. So yeah, like you were saying, this is a good, you know, if there's a little market or something, or if you're selling, you know, or cute, and you can do cute embroidery, cherries on top. People love that. A loaf of bread on top. You know, Artspira has the cutest designs. And I found like watermelon, cherries, loaves of bread. If you put anything, it'll come up. And I love them because they're like cute little designs. You know what I mean?
They're so cute.
My son, he never commented.
For the next craft fair. That's perfect.
Yeah, craft fair. Or even jelly. You know, people sell jelly over their jars.
Yes, they do.
And okay, so now I came out through the opening. And then what you'll do is pull it so it's all even. And now you got the elastic portion right here. And so what you'll do is you'll cut that. And then, you know, the fun part of zigzag stitching the two together right here. I don't really knot it for these. You can knot it, but I don't. It's easier to just zigzag stitch.
Right.
So
and it's nice and flat too.
Yeah. So exactly. So overlap the two layers and then you'll zigzag stitch. All right. So let me pull up my zigzag.
All right. I just put up the hashtag Brother Sews. Don't forget to, if you're going to do these projects, tag them. They love to see what you're working on. You never know. They might even share it.
Yeah.
So tag them on Instagram. That's always the best. And then on Facebook, of course. Oh, we got Emily. Let's bring Emily up and see what she's.
Emily up while I do this real quick.
I got you both. Emily, what do you got?
I hope you had me muted just a minute ago because my daughter is in the same room watching a show and she just let out the biggest laugh ever. And it was really cute, but I was like so loud laughing. Okay,
Well,
so here's the two little hangers that popped up, and I think that's perfect for just if you wanted to put like a little hanger through or a dowel. I haven't actually thought through what I'm going to use to hang this, but I am ready to hang it. And then I've got it all clipped. I've tucked in that bottom where I had the turning hole, and you can see I have more clips along that edge because I'm holding the seam allowance in. So my plan now is just to use a straight stitch again. I'm going to lengthen it to a 3 because for top stitching, I like it to be a little bit longer. And I'm going to stitch very close to the edge. If you're having trouble stitching the vinyl, as in if it's like catching on the bottom of your foot, which this one isn't really, because this isn't really sticky, but you can always pop a vinyl foot onto your sewing machine for this last top stitching. And I do love my vinyl foot and I've used it for so many things, but I was just thinking if it's not really catching on here, but that would be a good place to use it as well. And I decided I didn't end up pressing this because I was just able to fold it back, and the vinyl has enough structure that it's just kind of holding everything in place. So I just went ahead and folded it back, put a bunch of clips on it. And Rose, I'm on.
Yeah, I know.
Shh.
Hi, Rose.
All right, so I'm just going to keep top stitching around this, and then you can circle back to me when I'm finished.
All right, that sounds good. Sandy says you're playing top thread chicken going on there.
Yes.
I remember doing a live with my son, and he was like maybe 4 at the time. And do you remember Angela when he brought his Nerf gun in my sewing room? I was like, if you start nerfing me while I'm on a live, it is over. I was so scared that he was just gonna. I made it through that. All right, so now the last step is I did the elastic, I stitched that, and now the last step is you'll have this little opening right there. That was from the first opening, and then you just top stitch that little portion. So that's all I'm gonna do, and then you're done. Now, if you wanted to do embroidery, which I did on the cute little watermelon one, you can do that before you add the elastic. So make your little circle and then do the embroidery. And then again, you got our little shower curtain. Or wait, what did you call it? Shower curtain.
I was thinking shower cap. I said shower curtain, but doesn't it look like a shower cap?
Yeah.
It's so cute. A little bonnet.
I know, seriously, actually, there you got a bonnet too. Let me get my bowl and I'll show you it over it. And then that's it.
Oh my gosh, this is so cute. And then I got Emily up here.
I know.
Emily, what do you got? Are you finished already?
I am finished. Yes. And I really love the way it looks. And I don't know who said I was playing top thread chicken, but I had plenty of thread left. I actually this summer have been I have so many spools of thread that are like less than half. And so I've been intentionally sewing them down to get rid of spools of thread. And there's always more on there than I think. So actually I did this whole project with that little thing. So yeah, there I am, all finished. And while Laura's showing you her bowl too, I'll back this up so you can really see the full effect. But I think it turned out pretty good. The hangers on the top are perfect. And then the letters are super cute too.
Very, very, very cute. A+ for you.
You can put it in their room.
Oh yeah, somebody's name. All right, I'll bring Laura up, and I'll take
I'll cover. And I obviously if you're entertaining, you do a cute little bowl. You can also do it the other side, which I like. You can do the linen side as well. And then we showed you guys the embroidery with the linen. This one was, I'm just trying to make them go, but you can honestly use them all on different bowls. It would just might cover it a little more. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's super easy. My son, he doesn't comment a lot on my projects, and I made dinner early and I left it on the, the stove or not the stove, the counter. And I had the bowls covered with these, and he's like, wow, that's actually really cool.
Hey,
of all the things I make, the bowl cover, okay, Jay.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, everybody's saying super fun. All right, Emily, let me unmute you. Here you go. Come on up here. This is so cute.
That's so cute.
Yeah, so all finished. You can see the back is nicely covered as well. So it's fully finished. If you were using like a cotton fabric for the top or for the front layer and not a vinyl, I definitely would put some interfacing to stiffen this. I think it's plenty structured because of the vinyl. The back is not vinyl. The back is just a eyelet cotton scrap, but the front floral is a vinyl. And then of course the letters are a vinyl, which is why just leaving the edges raw works well on there.
That is,
but it has a nice structure to it, even just if I was hanging it by these little hangers, it's going to lay nicely. So I think it turned out kind of how I envisioned, which doesn't always happen, but we lucked out this time and got our way through it.
I love it. Everybody's saying awesome projects, awesome projects. I agree. I've had so much fun. When I watch both of you, in my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? I think I want to coordinate my welcome sign and my bowl covers.
Yes.
I've got a week before all the party starts for July 4th, right? You both did it in like less than an hour.
Yes. Like I said, this is a 5-minute project once you do the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have some extra eyelet fabric. So maybe the eyelet holes are not too big. Maybe if I double layered it, I could make a matching bowl cover to go with my welcome sign.
I love that.
There you go. Everybody,
you can have a thinner layer. You could even use bias tape around the edge instead and have that as your elastic casing. So I kind of like them a little thinner. It's just the thicker, it's easier for some reason.
Well, and it's really cute too to be able to reverse it, or I think it gives a lot of possibilities.
For sure.
Yeah.
I agree. Asked about the curtains. No, I did not make these. They actually came at the house, and they're the only thing that stayed. I love the blue florals, and Angela knows that. It's like, that's my print. I think it was made for me.
I think it was. I think it matches that bag you did. So if anyone's bored this weekend, which of course we're not bored in summer, but if you are bored, if you hop on over to Brother Sew's YouTube channel, across the top, click on live, and you will find over 500 live episodes. We are number 5. Where we 505 today, and we didn't even start counting for the first couple hundred.
That's crazy.
So that's a lot of lives. And
you know what, Angela, that's impressive.
Well, congrats to you two as well. You were there from the beginning as well. So if you want to go back and watch some of their projects, it's all under there. Someone said, it'll keep It'll keep the flies out, it'll keep the ants out, it'll keep the squirrels out. So Emily, even if yours has holes, I think you'll be safe on the squirrels.
Yes, they cannot crawl through these holes.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Everyone, thank you for being here. We had a ton of people on here live today. This has been so much fun. And believe it or not, these two did not coordinate the show this way. You guys were perfect together.
It worked out perfectly to go back and forth.
Yeah,
it sure did.
Good
So
job,
even if you're watching the replay, leave us a comment. And if you have a question, drop it in the chat and we'll try to answer it for you. So until next time, everyone, have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.